So, Diamond, we're back. And I think we all can agree. I'm just about to cry. We've been laughing. We've been just having an amazing discussion. However, I heard about you. I heard about your story. I worked with your mom, knew what a lot of the family had gone through. But it was not until I met you that it really resonated with me how amazing this is and what a miracle this is. It wasn't until I looked at your scars and I saw your pain even when speaking, and I saw your emotion that this young lady is real and she really experienced this. So this is your moment. We brought you here as the experiential pearl to now share with the world what happened, why you feel it happened, and anything else you want to put inside of it.
Absolutely. Well, to start with what happened, I was 18 years old. I lived in Lake Worth, Florida, and I was in the wrong things. I had the wrong friends. I had the wrong people around me that I chose to surround myself with. And a friend asked me to take him somewhere. I was young with a car. I was like my only 18-year-old with a car. So I decided to take him for the exchange of gas money. And he asked me to take him over Lantana, over the bridge to the other side. And I didn't know where I was going. I didn't even ask. I just said, okay, because I needed the gas thing. And as I was taking him and as we were driving, literally not even like 10 minutes away, he started to direct me. And I realized, like, I don't know where I'm at. It's dark. Let me start paying attention. So I was on the phone with a friend at the time. I said, I'll call you back. Literally when I hung up the phone, he was like, park right here. So I parked. He got out the car. And this is how I know he knew the individuals where we were going to, because he didn't need directions. He knew where he was going. And he got out the car and he got back in. And he said, they're not here. Let's go somewhere else. There were so many different signs that, for me, spiritually, that something was wrong. Before I even took him, I had left my mother's house, and I got hired at the Boynton Beach movie theater and Piercing Pagoda in the mall. And she was like, I'm so happy for you. I'm giving you a month to pay your car insurance. And please make sure that you just stop driving around and stop having the people that you have with you. You know, that car is in my name. And I work for the police department, so you need to make sure that you're doing the right things. So as we have that conversation and then I leave her house to do exactly what she told me not to do, it was just mind-boggling to me that when I was doing that, she was calling me. So I decided not to answer. And that was another sign. So I didn't answer, and she said, and he asked me to go to where the next place, because he, was still anticipating meeting these people. Yes. So I'm like, okay, but I didn't really want to. I remember thinking in my head, I'm not a taxi driver, but I felt like I had already gotten this far. I couldn't turn around and tell him no. So I decided to go. And when we got there, he got out the car. He spoke to the two individuals he was speaking to. My mom called me again, and I ignored the second call again. Wow. And I looked at the phone, and I decided to text her and tell her a lie, that I had just got home, and I was going to get in the shower. And I'll call her back when I get out the shower. Because to me, it felt like by the time I drop him off and get on my way home, it would sound as though I was in the shower. Right. So as soon as I sent that text message and I closed the phone, put in the cup holder, he was getting back in the car. And I vividly remember hearing the door slam. And I went to go put my foot on the brake to pull off. And he said, Diamond, go fast. And the look on his eyes were so big. And I said, what? And as soon as I turned my head to click my lights on, the same person he was just talking to ran to my car with an AK-47 and started to shoot at me and him in the front of my car. As I was going down, from not to get shot in the head, the same other boy he was talking to started to walk. So both of them were shooting at my car with an AK-47 and an AR-15. the young man jumped over my head and sat in the back of my seat, and he like kind of shielded himself with my seat. I was stuck in my seatbelt, and he screamed, "Diamond Go, Diamond Go." And all I could hear was echoing Diamond Go in between the loud gunshots and the glass breaking and stuff. And I remember leaning down, but the seatbelt was locked. And I just could hear my dad's voice saying, "Don't get shot, don't get shot." But I was already shot. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know how to like save myself, and I just didn't want to like get shot in my head because I felt everywhere where I was shot. Then when my arm blew off my body, my elbow was sitting out of my arm, my forearm was in my lap, and the blood was squirting in my face. And that's when I knew I was gonna die. And I was raised in church. I know that there's God, but I never physically spoke to God before this, and I never really felt angels before this. And in this moment, when I knew that I was going to die, and I went to just like give up, I heard a whisper, which was an angel in my right ear only, because the left ear I could only hear gunshots. Gotcha. My right ear, it said, "You can go, you can go," and it kept whispering, "You can go." And when I opened my eyes, I saw the green light around neutral in my dashboard, which means that I could go. And when I looked down, my legs were so swollen and so big, and I couldn't focus. It felt like I was like spinning in my seat of the car. And as soon as I went to again think to give up, I heard "Diamond Go," and then I lift my head up and I started to scoop myself from under my seatbelt. And I used my arm and my shoulder to scoop myself forward, put my head under my front wheel, and I grabbed my right foot from the brake to the pedal. And I started to mash it with my hands and my foot. And my car was revving up. It was like, vroom, vroom. And as it was revving up, because it was in neutral, my car started to drive. And I didn't understand like what was going on. And I tried to sit up and I tried to hold the wheel with the only hand and the only thing that I felt I couldn't move on my body. And I was like swerving. And as I was driving up the street, they would continue to shoot at me. And by the time I got shot in my back the second time, it took the air out of my chest. And I remember feeling like that was my last breath. And I had gasped. And I just jerked the wheel into a lady's front yard because I saw the oncoming traffic. And I knew I was going to kill myself in that. Wow. So I jerked the wheel and I crashed into her house. And as soon as I crashed, all the gunshots stopped. Everything stopped, and the police, they got there, ambulance got there. I remember them cutting off my clothes, and they were screaming everywhere I got shot, to the chest, back to one to the left extremity. And as I kept hearing it, my anxiety was going to the roof, my heart was like beating, and all I could get out was 561, 561. I couldn't get my mom's number out all the way, and by the time they took me out the car and I looked up at the sky, I saw no stars and I saw no moon. It was just dark. And then I got into the ambulance, and I think the light, something made my hearing sense go away. So I couldn't hear anymore. And I could only hear my voice in my head. And I knew I was screaming because the ambulance, he stood over me, and he put his hand like this. And in that moment, God told me, relax, or I would take myself. So I started to tell myself, you're going to be okay. They're going to get you there. They're going to get you to the hospital. Your mom's going to be there. And I started to mentally talk myself to stay awake because I was afraid that if I didn't, that I would let go and that I would pass away. And I stayed awake the whole entire time as they trauma hopped me to the hospital. I knew I was in the ambulance. I knew I was in a helicopter because my stomach turned. And I said, "See, Diamond, they're flying you there." And I remember saying that, and then I remember just the white in the hospital, and in between all the blue hats and the blue faces, I saw my mom's face coming from like this side. And she said that she started to pray in my ear, but I couldn't hear. But I know that when I saw her, I felt at home. And I let go, and that's when I was in an induced coma for about a week and a half. And when I woke up, I was on life support. I had tubes in my chest, I had tubes here, I had draining tubes, I had tubes in my nose and my mouth, and I could just see. And I was looking around, I saw my family, and my mom said that throughout, although I was on life support, I had things in my mouth, I was able to utter music. I wanted music, because he played music for me, and that soothed me. And all the way up until, I think I was on life support for almost 2 weeks, up until Thanksgiving. It wasn't until I was able to have verbalize that I knew I was paralyzed. I sat in that room for almost 2.5 to 3 weeks, not really knowing. I knew what happened to me, and I knew that everybody was waiting for me to get these tubes in my mouth so I can tell them what happened. So as I was
So that was police, law enforcement, everybody?
and my mom.
Okay.
Really, I knew I had to talk to them, but I only wanted to talk to my mom and tell her what happened.
Okay.
And when I was able to do that, I was able to tell them the same thing I'm telling you. And my mom asked me, why? Where was I going? And at that moment, I couldn't answer her. And it hurt me because I realized that I'm hurt right now behind something that I don't know what happened. And in that moment, something that my mom always used to tell me was that you are who you hang around. The people that you surround yourself speaks volumes about you. And those choices that they make will revolve to you. And it wasn't until I was laying in a hospital bed really, really hurt that I could understand that I don't have to be doing anything. But just because I put myself around other people, what they have going on now reflects on me.
Let me ask you this. Did the young man, did he survive this?
So that's another part of the healing thing that hurt so bad, because then I was able to ask my mom, well, where is he? My mom told me, as I'm still sitting in ICU 3.5 to 4 weeks later, he went to ICU drop down that same night, which means he was fine. He lied to the police and told them he did not know where we were going and that I took him there.
Oh, wow.
And that he didn't know anything, you know. And then I left that alone. And then about a month and a half into my recovery, I was finally able to get an iPad because I didn't have a phone or anything. So I was just signing on to Facebook after all this time. And I went on Facebook and I initially went straight to his page. And he posted a status. We got shot November 3rd, 2012. He posted a status on November 9th, 2012 and said, you guys tried to kill me and I'm still alive. Hashtag God's child, hashtag 8 bullets. When he really got shot 4 times, we had the same nurse. So I called the nurse in and I even showed the nurse because she was like talking to me a little bit about him and she was like, honey, it's a blessing that you lived. I'm so sorry that you were friends with that person. Yeah. And I couldn't understand why she kept saying she's sorry to me. So when I showed her the status and I said, did he get shot 8 times? And she said, no, he got shot 4 times and he's perfectly fine. And that hurt me because you're amplifying how many times you got shot. When I really got shot 9 times. And I'm really hurt behind it.
And now you're boasting and bragging about it publicly.
Wow. So that was hurtful to me because he was really my friend, you know, somebody that I just went to school with and hung out in the neighborhood with. So to know that, it hurt me. And that's where my healing came because I was so bitter. I was so angry. So I didn't get up out the bed. I didn't go to therapy. I sat there.
So you were working against yourself.
And I didn't want to do anything. I was very angry at everyone. I was very nasty to everyone. And I had to realize, maybe it took up into the nursing home stage where I tried to hurt myself. And I realized, like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I have to sit here in this. I have to live in this. And the reason why I never really watched TV was because I was really trying to see my life beyond this walls and behind the hospital, outside of the hospital, and how Diamond was going to live, you know, and how was I going to be happy if I can't dance? Because when they told me that, well, my mom told me, because if I back up, I didn't know I was paralyzed. I thought that I just couldn't, like, walk. So I was in pain, and I asked my mom to help me help me get to the bathroom. And she shot from the end of the bed all the way to the top so fast, and she said, no. And she said, but you'll be fine. And I said, no, I can't. My stomach hurts so bad. Please let me pee. And she said, you can't. I said, I know I can't because I'm tied to all the machine, but you can help me and we'll walk slow. And when I said walk slow, my mom cried. And I'm like looking at her, and she said, Diamond, you can't walk right now. And I looked and I said, I can't dance. And then she just started to cry more. And to me, it was like, I can't be happy. Forget walking. I just can't dance. So in that time of healing in the nursing home and stuff, I had to really find out what I was going to be able to do with my life and myself. And how was I going to even make anybody believe me because I didn't believe myself. So all these people would come visit me and my family would tell me, Diamond, it's going to be fine. But I didn't believe it was going to be fine. So all I could do is be angry at them.
Like, why are you even
Why
telling
are you
me
telling me
this?
this?
Yes.
You know, then I went through a portion of time where I didn't want anybody to come see me because I felt like they were leaving anyway.
Mm.
And you guys were gonna go back to your
That's
life,
good.
and you guys are all gonna walk home and like go
Mhm.
outside, and like I'm still sitting here.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather you just leave me here.
Yeah.
And I just rather stay here, which is why the nurses, they left me in the room because they felt like I was young and like they can't really help me because I'm in this place with older people. So their response was to just shut my door and leave me, which helped me go deeper into my depression, which made me feel like I just rather not be here at all.
And it's to be honest, that's another level of rejection when you really needed somebody.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand how strong God is and how
Wow.
strong faith is
Wow.
until I realized that my mind is so strong and my faith can be so strong just like that to not believe anything that I see.
Wow.
And that's what faith is. Faith is believing in the things you cannot see.
Yep.
And if you're able to have faith and believe in those things, then soon one day you can reach somewhere bigger than where you are now.
Amen. Amen.
And I was able to come to terms with that. And all I know is from that nursing home until now, when they transferred me from the nursing home to Shands Rehabilitation Center in Gainesville, I gained a whole new strength about myself. I wasn't okay with being in the hospital anymore and just trying to figure that out. Now I was trying to go home.
Okay.
And now I was trying to figure out like what home would be like.
That's good.
So
now we get into the fight.
yeah,
Okay.
where I was learning how to dress myself, learning how to cook, learning how to get in and out of the bed and transfer myself. It went from Diamond thinking that I was gonna stay in this hospital till I went home and walk again, to me realizing that these people are here to help me live again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Live in my truth, in my situation
Yeah.
again. They're not here to rehabilitate Diamond to what she was before.
Wow.
Something even great.
Wow.
So with that, I gained a different strength, which I feel trickled down to my mother and my family because she saw that I was excited to get up and to show her when like they came to visit me that I can get in the car
Yeah.
and that I can like feed myself and that I can get up and dress. So that gave her a sense of we can do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
And not so much like you can do this.
Sounds so amazing.
So moving forward through this journey of me getting shy, I feel as though when I got home, I thought that I was okay and I wasn't because I thought that going home was going to be what it was before. When I went home, I had a new home. It wasn't the same place. I had a hospital bed at home. I had ramps everywhere.
So
I
they
couldn't,
had prepared for you.
yeah, but I didn't prepare myself for what home was going to be.
Yeah, that's good.
So now when I got home, I fell back into a depression because I felt like I worked so hard to get home. And now I'm home and I'm stuck again because I was in a room and, you know, everybody, my sister and brother went to school, mom went to work, and now mom was preparing Diamond to stay home by herself. And I'm looking out the window every day and I'm like, this is not an 18-year-old's life. I can't do this. I can't stay in the bed. You know, and it didn't really dawn on me. I tell myself that, but then I go back to sleep.
Yes.
It didn't dawn on me until my mother came in the room. And she said, she had tears in her eyes, and she opened the door and she said, Diamond, I'm not going to help you anymore. And I'm looking at her like she's crazy. You got to help me. I can't get up.
Right.
And she said, no. She said, I have to go back to work full time next week. And mommy needs to know that you can get out this bed by yourself. And you can get to the kitchen by yourself. And I need to know so I won't be scared for you. And she stood by the bed and she said, so get up. She said, let's try it. You need to move your legs by yourself. Because I was so afraid of my legs. I was so afraid of them that I didn't really touch them. I didn't move them. I didn't even really look at them. I just kind of like blocked them out. So she made me pick up each leg. And mind you, I didn't really have, you know, my arm all the way. And she made me. And it took me 47 minutes to get from the bed to the chair. And I watched her struggle. She wanted to help me so bad. And she did it. And that's what gave me the strength to know that I can get up and I can do it. And I don't have to wait on anyone. And after that, I started looking up online, you know, what I can do, because I didn't know what I was good at besides dancing. But I knew that I was good at talking.
Yes.
And I knew that I was good at communicating.
Definitely.
And I just still didn't know. I didn't want my life to revolve around therapy. Because now I went from being a teenage girl that was going to school, worried about college and stuff like that, and now I'm worrying about catheters and diapers and wheelchairs and Lovenox shots, blood thinners, and medicine, and all these things that I don't even know about. So I didn't want my life to revolve only around this tragic incident. So I had to go to Plato's Closet to get new clothes. And when I went there, I ran into a friend that I had from high school. And within that friend, because I didn't find independence with my family, between my mom and my brothers and my sisters, everybody catered to me. Everybody wanted to help me.
Right.
So I found no individuality. I found no independence. So when I started to hang out with my friend, and she invited me out places, and she had just comforted me. She made me feel a little bit normal, because there was no normal in my life at that time. And I watched her go to school and stuff, and I said, I wish I can. And she said, you can. So I got that encouragement, and I, told my mom I'm gonna go to school, and she's like, okay, yeah, up the block. I'm like, no, I'm getting a U-Haul. I'm moving. And I moved all the way to Daytona.
Wow.
And I started school. And in between that, I had, a little bit of encouragement from a show called Push Girls. It's a show with women, 4 women in wheelchairs in California, and they just show you their everyday life. There were so many questions to me, like, how am I going to have anybody like me, love me? How am I going to go out? Like everything. And this show showed me that. And I was blessed to find a girl on Instagram, and she flew me out to LA.
Wow.
And we shared the passion of dance together. And she opened up wheelchair dance for me.
I saw that video.
Yeah. So she showed me that there was a whole other life. And from there, I feel like I even sprouted even more in my confidence within myself, because I saw people like me. I feel like my family did so great with trying to comfort me, but nobody was like me.
Yes.
Nobody was sitting every day.
Yes.
So to be around girls that were like me, it made me feel even more better about myself. It sent me home with the confidence like I could do it. I never saw people drive with hidden controls before until I left there. And it sent me home with an agenda, like, okay, what are you going to do to try? You know what I mean? Like, okay, Diamond, you don't have to drive right now. Just like with the therapy, you don't have to go right now. But what are you going to do to prepare yourself? So I started to look up the laws and what I needed for the license and what I needed. And I just started to show myself that there is a life that I have to live. There's so many people that I've met in my journey that have made me appreciate what I have. I met a girl who was learning to speak through her eyes. She couldn't move anything at all. And here I was so upset, or I couldn't move my legs, but yet I have my hands and my upper body strength to help me.
Yes.
So that is where I realized, use what you have to live your best life. And it's not about what I lost.
Come on.
It's about everything that I gained.
Come on.
And look how much it opened you up to the alternatives in life. Because a lot of times we don't even realize certain things exist until certain things happen to us. But what you're emphasizing, even through your whole conversation, is the power of the mind. And many people don't place emphasis on that your mindset is everything.
Yes.
I teach positive psychology because that's in a sense what it is. Because we are famous for looking at the negatives and our problems. And we have all of these amazing things going on over here, the attributes and everything else, but we are good at pinpointing the negative and highlighting the negative. And I say, well, put a list together, and your attributes and your positives and the things that you can do far outweigh your negative. But here's where you rest every day. Your whole conversation has been negative. Because that's what I do. When people are giving me their negatives, I'm over here creating a list of positives.
It outweighs it.
It outweighs it. But it's your mindset.
But I had to believe in myself. Also, I realized that. And that's up until now. everybody can tell me that I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
You
But
are.
until I believe
For yourself.
that I can sit in my chair
Yeah.
and I can be as beautiful as possible,
Well,
then it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I learned that through my last relationship. I used to speak all the time about my negatives, all the time. And it wasn't until she said, how do you expect me to love you and like you and you don't like yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I sat in the bed and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what? You're right.
That's right.
How am I supposed to love my body
Mm-hmm.
if all I do is look at it and say, I hate how skinny my legs are, I hate my feet, I hate my,
Yes.
then on the other end, you're going to reciprocate what I'm putting
There you
out.
go.
And
There you go.
we project that onto other people.
Yeah.
How we feel.
Yep.
Even when people are trying to love us. When you don't love yourself, you rebuff them. You know, the person is trying to hug you and embrace you, and you're like,
So
oh,
tight.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
you
feel
can't even
that.
receive it, of course.
They feel that.
So at a certain point, we're human. How much rejection can I take from you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a process even with learning to love yourself, if people will be honest.
Of course.
Because our body dynamics
Of course.
change, our mindsets change, we evolve. And women, we're to the next level. I'm just going to speak very candidly. We're very critical of ourselves.
For young people, I
Yes.
feel as though the hardest part is because as young adults and adolescents, we're already trying to find ourselves within this world.
Yeah.
And we're trying to learn who we are and how to love ourselves naturally.
Yes.
And then when you add a traumatic situation with losing a part of your body,
Yes.
that makes your physical appearance look
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
It's a whirlwind
That's a good
of
point.
insecurities
Yep.
and hard to love yourself and accept yourself. And I've gone places and people have said to me, well, I look at you and I just wonder how you do it, and you just make it look so easy and it doesn't bother you. Like you just whirl around, you're rolling around. And I wasn't always this way.
Yeah.
I was so afraid and self-conscious that I felt the chair was bigger than me. And now I feel as though being that I really truly do, I know that I'm beautiful and I know all the things that I have to offer outside of just my legs,
Yes.
that I do roll around here
With a
that makes you feel as though you don't even see the chair.
Yes.
Come on.
And
Come on.
I'm happy that I'm here now because I couldn't see myself there.
Yeah.
I could not see myself loving me for me.
But you made it. And it's so beautiful and it's so powerful in a sense. And several times in your story, to be honest with you, I got chills. Because I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking I'm a survivor. I am a survivor. However, there's no comparison. There is no comparison. So I honor you in this moment for being able to even find the place in the will, not only to survive, but do it beautifully.
Yes. Yes. And gracefully.
Yes, it's a testament today that no matter what life throws at us, is how we view it and what we choose to do with it. Like I've come to say, leave no victims behind.
Come on.
The family. You emphasized at a point that you weren't nice, so nice. There was some resistance, and that your family pushed you, but they also had to show up in a way that said, I'm not going to cripple you for the rest of your life. Because that could have easily happened.
Absolutely.
So what do you say, because I know your family's going to watch this and your friends are going to watch this, what do you say to them?
I first say thank you. I say thank you. Because without the constructive criticism and the tough love, it would have enabled me and, so to say, handicapped me.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't have known what it is to just get up and try.
Yes.
Because it would have been done for me. So I think my family and friends, but I also think it's very important for family and friends to allow people that are going through trauma, their family members that are going through the trauma, to give them that space to be able to mentally and emotionally get through what they're going through and allow them to come to you with a resolution or with questions, because I do feel as though there's times where in my healing and me trying to figure out myself, I have my sisters and my mom and my brothers and family asking me, well, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Give me a second.
Yes,
Yeah.
just let me
Feeling
digest that.
overwhelmed.
Yes, yes.
You know, and I don't have an answer for you right now.
Yeah.
But I'm extremely grateful for the push of independence.
Yes.
I really am. And it helps me get to where I am today. And I feel like that's what my calling is, because there's so many people that I meet that have let go and have
Yes.
given up
Yes.
on life itself.
Yes.
Because this is not all about therapy and walking again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
So
not
much
about,
greater.
it's
Yeah.
bigger than that. It's about
Yes.
just living life to the fullest.
Yes.
And knowing that you are worth everything that anybody else is. You are no less of a
Yes,
person
because of situation.
because of the situation, you know?
And I think you're gonna allow people, I can see, visualize, and it's so amazing to me that somebody's gonna be watching this and be like, I needed that.
Wow.
I needed to see this, I needed to hear this, and this is gonna push me to go further. Not like Diamond, but like I need to, but because of Diamond. And that she was willing to open up and share. So thank you so much. I believe in support and honoring people in their moment. So Coretta, based on what you've heard as we close this segment out, what, I know we're both like at a loss for words. What do you say to Diamond?
Oh man, keep thriving, because you're not in a place of trying to survive. You're in a place of you're not trying to, but you're thriving. And I think that's the joy in your story, that you were at some point of trying to survive. You were fighting for your life. Now you're living in your purpose.
Yeah.
So keep thriving. Like, so you're going to survive either way, because God got you in that. But He's going to say, daughter, like, I'm going to make sure you breathe every day. I'm going to make sure you have what you need. But I want you to, like, go the extra mile and take all the tools that I put in front of you and use your imagination, your faith, and thrive on them.
Yeah.
So that's what I would definitely say.
That's beautiful. Thrive.
Yes.
What about you, Miranda? What would you say to your friend?
I mean, I see my friend. I don't even see the chair, honestly. The only time I see the chair is when we have to like put it back together, like that's it. Because I just like I fell in love with Diamond's heart and like the type of person that she is. You know, I don't really see anything.
So you just love her.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Isn't that, we can build a world of unconditional
Man,
love and no judgment and no hate, and I'll sign up any day. I'll leave all this behind. I'm going over here. I'm going over here.
Deuces.
So as we close this segment out, just know today
Yes.
that God is with you.
Yes, He is.
God is over you. He's around you. He has you covered. And God has given an amazing story. He allowed what was definitely to be an evil force to take you out, to preserve you for the moment. So right now, we've established your purpose.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Because I know people on this earth who don't know why they're here.
Yeah.
They're just kind of going through the day and going through the motions. And I
Just
say,
existing.
thank
They
you,
existing.
Lord,
They just
that I
existing,
understand
man.
why I'm
Like,
here.
oh, Jesus.
And that way, I don't mind sacrificing Sabrina.
Yep.
Coretta doesn't
Yep.
mind
Yep.
sacrificing herself
Yep.
for the good of
Wow.
others.
Wow.
So we will not vegetate while you figure out everything else.
Yep.
That your ministry is your focus.
Yep.
And through ministry, I share this with you and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's therapeutic. It's self-sustaining for us.
Yes.
It helps me to thrive. I don't care how many times I go home completely exhausted. I feel so good
There you go.
because I've been able to be a blessing to other people.
Which you have been in my life from day one.
Oh my God, when I met you, it was done deal. I said, she's going to get tired of me. But God showed me. Let me show you how God works. God said, you're going to be a connector. But you're also going to be in a position to give other people the opportunities they deserve.
Wow.
So you'll now be able to allow Diamond to see that there is more. You've been on stages. You've been in front of hundreds of people. So much more than what is. And that's only the tip of the iceberg, my dear. I speak global
Wow. Wow.
on your behalf.
Yes.
Everything that somebody else has given you inside of it, I speak a ministry of you giving that to other people.
Yes.
But the language that you speak and the realness that you talk is what's going to really help people. Because you said something to me I think a lot of people miss. Because I say standardly, children should have a therapeutic component to their life. Because there's so much that they're dealing with as an offset of what life brings, especially from our families, that they don't talk about.
Yep.
And in the African American community, we are repeat offenders.
Yes, we are.
As much as we hear the "don't what happens in my," we still do it.
Yeah.
We walk right around each other and talk at each other, but not to each
Not
other.
to each other.
So how do we fix it? We create platforms and opportunities for people to keep it real in a safe way.
Yep.
I couldn't even finish it. You finish it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't this feel good?
It feels, it's purifying. It
Yes.
really is.
In a safe way. All right. Thank you. So, ladies, if we'll be honest, and I think I was very transparent on the break, that I really want to dislike the person who caused this to happen to you. And I don't even know this person.
Understandable.
But because you're such an amazing person, I feel like what a travesty. So I need to know to process through this, because I'm never going to rest in hate or dislike or anything else. I have to figure out how I want to be because I love you so much. Just help me. Did this young man even try to be there for you or try to help you walk this out in the aftermath?
Yes, he did, in a way that wasn't really, I don't think he thought about my feelings when he tried to reach out. It was never, "I'm sorry." He reached out and said, "I heard that you're paralyzed, and I swear if I could give you my spine, I would." And I'm just like, what does that mean? You know, there's still a host of questions that I have for you. And I would have just appreciated, "Diamond, I'm sorry for what happened to you. You didn't have to hear that I was paralyzed. You were there with me."
Wow. That's powerful.
You know? So that filled me with anger when I read that. On top of just knowing what he posted on Facebook, that you've already voiced it of it and you really didn't understand how much this changed my life. That you go to the furthest extent of even telling me that you would do something we all know cannot happen. You cannot take somebody's spine and put it in somebody else's. Let's speak to each other in a real sense, but you couldn't do that.
Yes.
Good.
And I couldn't do that either because of how angry I was and how much hate I did have in my heart at the time. And I held that for a few months until I realized that I'm not going to heal in this hospital. And I am not going to be able to move forward and be the diamond that I am, because naturally I'm happy. And naturally I'm loving.
Yes.
And I'm very, very, very I'm just a warm-hearted spirit. I just love people.
Yes.
So it's not in my nature to be angry, not want to smile, not have one thing to be happy about. And that's how I felt. I had not one thing to be happy about, because I felt as though this was his fault. He took me, he asked me to take him to this place, and I got hurt, and my life is ruined, and he still gets to live his life.
Right.
And for months, I held on to that feeling until God had to allow my heart to understand that before he can work with me and through me to work to other people, I had to let go of all of the hurt and the pain and just forgive this young man for bringing me to where he brought me, because although it hurt me and changed my life, it bettered me. It made me a better person.
Wow, that's
It made Diamond change who Diamond was. I became a little bit more selfless now. I think about how other people feel, how other people may feel.
Yes.
So it changed me.
Break you down, woman.
It changed me altogether. And I went from really hating him to now I can say I love you for asking me to bring you there, because it changed me.
Wow.
It made me a better person, and I'm able to really gravitate and know things that I feel like a lot of people my age, 25, and in our generation, just don't get.
Yeah.
And I know it's sad for me to have understood this lesson through the way that I had to understand it, but sometimes in life, we all have to hit our own rock bottom. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, family, friends can tell us everything they want, but until we know for ourselves,
Yes.
then we can't change.
That's powerful because I just had a client, he's 16. And we talked about the why do you have to go touch the fire type thing because he's that person. You can tell him, but he's so stuck on if I really want to do something, I'm going to have that experience.
Mhm.
But he did tailor that with, I'm ready for my consequence. That's how I know we're getting to a place where he's really listening and we're processing through things. But I had to respect that he's saying, I hear y'all.
Yeah.
And my forgiveness also comes from that as well. I can stand firm in all of my own decisions. That boy didn't put a gun to my head and say, drive me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good
I
point.
chose to take him. I
That's a
chose
good
to
point.
disobey my
You
parents
chose
and
not
what
to
they
answer
were
the
telling me
phone.
to do.
Yes.
I chose to make Diamond's decisions. So every day I wake up and every day I look at my chair and I look at my life. I can stand in it because I made the decisions to get me here.
Wow.
But I also know now what decisions not to make sure that I'm okay now. And I stay safe.
Yes.
And, you know, you cannot live your life holding on to any anger for anyone, no matter who it is or what it is. It's better to just let go
Yes.
and let that situation and that person be so you can focus on you. And God works in mysterious ways because I thought that he was able to live his life and mine was over. And look at my life now. He didn't change his mindset. He didn't change his lifestyle. And he went and took someone's life less than a year later when we got shot together.
Wow.
And he is in Palm Beach County Jail serving life
Wow.
in prison
Wow.
after less than a year of us getting shot.
Wow.
So
You
his
took
life
someone
is
else's
completely
life.
gone.
His life is gone, and yet here I am living my life beyond what I could ever see myself in those four walls of that hospital that him and I both put each other there,
Yes.
you know? So I feel blessed to be able to go through those trials and be able to know exactly where I am right now.
And I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like you're going to help him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like God is going to use you to help him, to help refurbish his mind and help him change his way of thinking, even though, in a sense, his life is done. Maybe there's a ministry or something in him. But that's how we come full circle. It's not our responsibility by any means. But that's what I'm saying. When I'm on this journey, on this ministry for whatever has happened in the past, may I be a conduit for affecting positive change in those who have offended me and hurt me. And that's a tough place to get to because we naturally want to rest in, I didn't deserve this. And we naturally want to become defensive and mean and angry, but it serves no purpose.
And people question God, as I have too, but I also have realized that God doesn't do these bad things to us.
Yes.
But God is there for us when we do go through
We
these bad
do.
things.
Yes.
For us to be able to look at and for Him, for the guidance and for the strength. So I do believe that although, we all question why,
Yes.
there's a divine purpose in why.
And that is the pearl of wisdom that will resonate for this segment. It is not God's doing. He does not want us to suffer. It is our decisions. 99.999% of the time. So that's a pearl of wisdom for the people. And your 25 years of living. You are very wise. And that's amazing. You're very wise. So, Coretta, let's have this difficult conversation. Because it's a part of being the transformative pearl inside of this. Let's speak to the mental health, spirituality tug of war. And let's leave something for people to understand that you're not doing anything wrong when you attend to your mental health.
I think I heard, I don't know if it was on TV or YouTube or somewhere, a pastor or minister of the gospel say, God is concerned about the whole man.
Okay.
because I think so many times when we think of spirituality, a lot of times we focus on our soul, we focus on afterlife, we focus maybe on terminology like sin or evil and good, God and devil. We hear all these terms that are attached to spirituality, being spiritual. And we can almost put God in a box. Like, God just is concerned about me making it to heaven to be with him. Or wherever we think that final place is. That's all I need to just live right. I just need to, and so I think we put him in a box like that, as if though God isn't concerned about our physical, mental, emotional health, like he is.
Yes.
And I believe he is, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have created doctors. There would be no doctors for our physical health.
Absolutely.
There would be no nutritionists when it comes down to, when it comes down to dieting and things like that. We wouldn't need a job to get money to eat. We wouldn't need to eat.
No,
if he didn't care about, if he didn't care about what we eat, just for us to just be spiritual beings, but we're spiritual, but we're having this natural experience. And God said that we're in this world, but we're not of it.
Yes. And
so for me, I look at how we look at God, and I look at him as a father, and understanding that, daughter, like, even though I'm your spiritual father, you're my Lord, you're my Savior, God, but that you care about every part of my life. You care about who I date. Yes. You care about even how I dress sometimes. Yes. God, you care about all of this.
Here, and I have Vel P, who's filming for me.
Just finished my photo shoot with Vel P Entertainment, and I am so pleased with Vel P Production.
Here doing it with Vel P Entertainment. Vel P Photography.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Make sure you hit up Vel P Entertainment and Photography.
So God cares about beyond our souls. He cares about whole well-being. And even on break, as our amazing videographer brought up a very profound verse, and it talks about in John 3, it talks about how as our soul prospers, that we will be well and in good health overall. And I think in the faith, we have done a disservice to mental health, one out of immaturity and just, being misled when it comes down to it. And
our innocent ignorance.
Ignorance. And I do believe strongly that there is a deep spiritual war that's going on. That is the root of our lives. I do solely believe that. However, I do believe there is a distinction between what can be demonic and what can be emotionally and mentally driven and be discomforting and become an illness. Yes. I do believe that as well. Absolutely. And how do we decipher, how do we pick between those two to know what is what? And I believe that's why God has put professionals in the field of mental health. I believe through our own journey with God, revelation divinely from him, he speaks to our spirit. God speaks to us.
Yes, he does.
Like, he speaks to us. And yes, I think when we don't want to hear what we maybe need to hear,
yes.
then we would even turn God and be like, okay, you ain't talking what I want to hear right now, so forget that.
And that's a good point, that we're rejecting the truth.
Yes.
The Bible says, be ye not anxious.
Yes.
Does it not?
For nothing.
It uses this terminology. So I'm like, how can we twist this around and say that it's not? But at the root of it, the enemy wants us not to connect with it, and not to accept it, and not to understand it, because he knows that we'll never heal. We will never face it.
Of course. That's just like when it comes down to couples, when they're having troubles in their marriage. And it can be simply, let's say, one of the two biggest things I heard of people having discomfort in their marriage or divorce, being sound alarm in their marriage and so on and so forth. One of it is finances and communication.
Yes.
And a lot of times people, after they go to counseling, after they sit down maybe with a financial person at the bank, they're getting education, they're getting insight, they're being corrected in their errors, they're sharing their past experience, they're getting goals and motivation for what they can do differently.
And we'll pay for it. We'll pay for it, yeah.
Like, that's what therapy is. And so I think when we can find it, like I said, when it comes down to spiritual, like, oh God, I just have to pray over it. And I get so, and you see I'm kind of get passionate, you know, I'm a
Yes,
Lord, I get so
come
much
on,
stuff
come
going on.
on.
But I get, even when it comes down to, somebody could say I have diabetes. You could stay on the altar all day long praying. You could be fasting and all kinds.
There's
Sister
things that you
Jones down
have
the
to
street,
do.
Bishop could come to your house and everything. But if you have not sat and really like checked out your diet
Yes.
and changed your behavior with how you're eating,
And know
and-
that it contributes to.
God already answered the prayer, but He answered it through your action of maybe going to the doctor,
Yes.
maybe you started going to the gym through action. God is
Action.
very action oriented. When Jesus came, Jesus knew His purpose.
Yes.
Like hands down, He knew He was the Son of God.
Yes.
Even though His parents was not even in tune fully with who He was,
Yes.
God gave Him the revelation of who He was. But it did not take away from Him coming to fulfill that purpose.
And
It took
walking
action.
it
It
out.
took step by step.
Yes.
He had to do it.
Yes.
So I would just say that we have to, as individuals in the faith, understand that God cares about the whole man. And He has put every tool here, a mental health therapist, life coaches, physical doctors, friends, family, food, everything we need to thrive in Him and to bring glory to His name. And hopefully one day to hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant.
Amen. And to also understand, I'll add a caveat that I think is very important, is that the process is individual.
Yes, hands
What
down.
Diamond went
Hands
through
down.
is Diamond's
Yeah.
journey. Go
I
ahead.
wanted to add on there for, our young people that are watching. You hear my story and you hear what I've thrived through and to get to this point, but it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And you have to, God put it in front of us, but you have to get up
Yes.
and you have to try.
Yes.
I know we all have 1,000 excuses,
Yes.
but if we can just push them to the side and get up every day and try to use the tools that we have. We are blessed with internet.
Mm-hmm.
We are blessed with so many different
There's
things
no
that
excuse.
we
There
can
you
have.
go.
There's no excuse. All you have to do is try. And I noticed through my own situation that if I get up and try, then I'm encouraging other people around me to want to help me.
Absolutely.
I cannot expect you guys to help me if I don't want to help myself.
Yeah.
And if I'm not willing to change.
Yep.
I talked recently about the magic wand that somewhere is supposed to exist in therapy, that as soon as you sit down in front of us, whoop,
You're good.
you good,
Right.
thank you for coming, sign on the dotted line, you'll figure that. It doesn't work that way. But when I tell people you're committing to months and years of work and change and redefining your life, they're sitting at me, looking at me stunned. Like, there's a process here. Also, God is leading me to talk about self-medicating. Okay? Because you did introduce self-injury, which is a dysfunctional way of release. For those who are cutters and those who do different things, they have all of these things inside of them that are unattended to negatively.
Yeah.
And somehow the mind has created this escape that if I should open my skin or I should be able to look at this and address this on this way, I feel better.
Yeah.
So it's all dysfunctional. Even if we go to drinking, all of the vices and different things that are out there, what people use, it is a sense of feeling better. But we've said, and I think we perfectly come to the conclusion that there are healthy ways
Definitely.
to feel better.
Definitely.
There are healthy ways to be motivated and inspired. We don't have to choose this way. And if you have chosen, just understand that you can always uncheck that box.
Yeah.
You know how you check.
Like, go back, like, wait a minute.
Haven't we done that earlier on in life? I check, all this stuff.
Go back.
And I've had to go back and uncheck,
Oh, yeah.
unselect some of these boxes.
And don't feel ashamed. It's better. It's better for you.
And we have the edit option. Like,
Yeah.
God, we
can modify this language
This
a
is not
little
the
bit.
final document. This is the draft. This
Yes,
is another
say that
draft.
again.
Like,
I
this is
love
another
that.
draft.
I love that.
This is another draft that we are almost living in draft mode.
Yes.
And the goal is that hopefully from that draft to the next one, you've learned and you're not working on the same thing.
Yeah.
You're growing, because I believe that's what God is most concerned about.
But catch
us to
this.
grow.
Even in a draft mode, isn't it sometimes that we need to go get someone with
Yes,
expertise
what?
to help us change it? Oh God, look at that. That's
We can't just read our own paper and try to edit
That's
it.
a
Like, that's the
pearl.
only way it gets better.
We have
Like
peer
when
reviews.
when we reach out and we say, hey, you know what? Check this out for me. Like,
Yes.
look at this. Give me your feedback.
Yes.
Help me out, because if I'm just sitting here looking at my life and I'm just sitting here talking about
From
my
extreme one
experiences,
side.
I'm really shorting myself on like how great my outcome can really be.
That's good.
Because it's just me and me. Me and me are great, but it just can't always be me and me. That's why God created community.
That's good.
So
And is that the same testament even to professionals? Because we have some
Yes.
leaders and professionals think
Yes.
once we get to that level, that's just it. Is
No,
that just
I feel like everyone I mean I keep going back to this because I'm very metaphorically thinking in my mind or whatever. But just like the doctor himself, I hope your physical doctor has a doctor.
it? Amen.
Like, I hope so. Like, I wouldn't want to go to a doctor who doesn't go to the doctor himself. Like, I'm just saying, like,
you treat me for diabetes,
you never
but
get
you're
a headache.
diabetic,
Like,
and you're not. Yeah,
you never get a headache. You never had to get blood drawn.
That's
You never
true.
had an
Yes,
annual
yes.
yourself.
You don't even know what this feels like.
I would feel some type of way, like, you know. So I believe that every preacher needs
That's
a preacher.
good,
Every
that's
doctor
true.
needs a
That's
doctor.
good.
Every mental health professional, they need a therapist. They need that. It cannot just be them, and God does not want it to just be them. So yes, definitely.
Beautiful,
Definitely.
beautiful. So we
Definitely.
understand that we need to forgive to move forward.
Mhm.
We understand that forgiveness is very, not selfish, but it's very self-oriented.
Mhm.
That I'm
I like
forgiving
that.
for me.
Like that.
Okay, so it's a process that we need to go through. Process is key as we close this out to say that the best within us to be unveiled and revealed happens over time.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the diamond we're sitting here in awe of today, I can't wait to see, like in a couple of years,
Come on.
the next level and the next
Come on.
level. And that's the amazing thing about God. He defined life where we have levels.
I know that's
So
right.
I say, woo, you think you know Sabrina now. I can't wait for the next
Come
level.
on, man.
But always in the vein
Mm-hmm.
of blessing other people.
Yeah.
Because God is blessing me.
Yes. Yes.
It's up for me to bless that and send that
Yes.
on, pay it forward,
Yes.
and send it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
No.
You're not just wanting to. You're doing it.
That's what I
You're
thank you.
actually doing
Thank
it.
you.
Like you're doing it. Like you.
And
are
I want you to
doing
pay
it.
attention to when God opens the doors and presents opportunities.
Mhm.
Pray over them.
Yeah.
You know us, and you know where we come from.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in any situation, but where God is wanting you to be, where you can be best utilized.
Yeah.
And honor your calling.
Mhm.
I often say, God, I question God. I said, really? After all you know that I've been through,
Come on.
all you know that I've done, and God said you are worthy. But out of all the people that God can choose, when He chooses you, that is something that is amazing.
Yes.
But that's what keeps us humble, sis.
Yes, it is.
Like that's what, because God is that's the God that we serve, the God that loves on the imperfect, that loves on the broken,
Yes.
and He pieces it back together.
together.
Like, and it's like when He pieces it back together, all we can look back and say, like, I know it was nobody but you.
Yes.
Because if it was me, I would probably still be way back there. And so He gets glorified in our suffering. He gets glorified even when we make our mistakes.
Yes.
Because He says in Romans 8:28 that He works all things out for the good. So even when we slipping and tripping, He like, yeah, you wasn't supposed to be over there. You should have answered the phone. You could have did this differently. Or maybe if you would have just did this. But He's like, you know what? I'm not going to give you an F for failing. I'm going to give you an A for grace. I'm going to put my grace on this, and I'm going to still pull you through. And then now your story becomes the tunnel, like you said, this platform and so many other avenues for God to be glorified, and then for people to say, man, if Diamond can push through, like, I'm looking at my situation, God, like, what's up? Can I do it too?
I know. If she did all of that, I know I can do
Which
it.
exemplifies also the fact that being depressed does not mean that you have a demon.
Come
within you.
on.
Exactly.
It
Come
doesn't
on.
mean that, you are not a good-spirited person.
Come
It just
on.
means that just like us and all of us, you're going through something that needs to be worked
And
out.
we're
Listen.
human.
Listen, Jesus Himself, and this helped me so much. When I read this, and I often think about it, and I think I shared it from one of the events that we just had recently about the authors, but it helped me to understand when I read and hearing about Jesus before they came to get Him. Jesus already knew He was going to be, crucified. He already knew what time of the day it was. That doesn't mean He was always on board. Like, okay, I'm happy about this.
Yes.
But he submitted to the purpose. He submitted to His call.
Yes.
He kept that at the forefront of His life. Like you said, it's not about, okay, God, can I walk again? It's about what I want to do again. No, God, what is it that you would have me to do? Let me submit to that, even in the wheelchair, even in this condition. But my point is, I'll end it here, is that before they came to get Him, moments before, Jesus went out. I would say he was almost depressed for a moment.
Yes.
And he went out from among his support system, his
Yes.
disciples, and he had a moment. And I just couldn't imagine him there weeping, saying, God, to the Father, take this cup from me.
Yes.
Like, not, like this, like, can we back up right now? We made it to this pivotal point. We made it here, but can we actually back up? Like, it's getting really scary. Like, they're gonna, like, lash me. They're gonna strike me. They're gonna do all these things to me. Like, can we back out?
And I would probably say to God at that point, if it were me, and we doing this for somebody else. We're not even doing this for me.
That's so good. That's so good. Like, that's so
We're
good.
not even doing this for
That's so
me.
good. That's so
You
good.
talking about I need to do this for them?
Come on. And they don't even deserve it.
Right.
Like,
They don't even want it. God, no.
So, but he had that moment of being low. He had that moment of feeling depressed. He had anxiety. He got nervous.
Come on, Coretta.
He had all the symptoms.
Come on,
Like, we could give him a diagnosis from the DSM-5. Like, he held it.
No, he said if it's your will.
Come on. Then he had to submit
He
to
had to submit
the
to
greater
God.
plan,
Yes.
the greater purpose, and the greater
This
being.
good.
And that was his
This is
Father.
good.
That was God.
This
So
is
when it
good.
comes down to our traumas, when it comes down to our stories, when it comes down to our mishaps, our shoulda, coulda, woulda,
Yes.
like, it still remains this one thing, that God is on the throne.
Yes.
And unless he is removed, and he will not be removed,
Yeah,
then that's when I'll get nervous.
He's sovereign. Yes. That's when I don't want to be here.
Come on.
But I'm going to close with this analogy. Because God used a moment in Sam's Club to put into perspective damaged. Bananas. I love bananas. But I'm very picky. I already told you all I'm OCD. Things have to be perfect. So if you've ever been to Sam's and looked at the bananas, they're like boxes full and there's but I'm looking at those that are easily to my eyesight that I can view, and I'm seeing damaged pieces. So I'm looking and I'm picking, and this older woman was there going through them with me, and I noticed her watching me. You know, you get the feeling like, I'm just picking some bananas.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying to myself, you know. But I get it all the time, so I'm used to it. But I'm going through and I'm moving, so I had to open a new box, and I'm like, I'm just going to find the right bananas here because this is not impressive to me by any means. And she said, she introduced, she said, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing good. And she said, this is a whole event here for these bananas, right? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm just so particular. I'm very picky. And she said, you probably passed through some of the best of what I've seen here.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm looking, and I say they have brown spots and they have these things. And I say, to me, that's not a quality good. And she said, baby, when you peel that banana,
come on.
and she said, you break open what's inside of
That's
it.
good.
She said, that's some good banana
That's
bread
good.
right there.
That's
She
good.
said, that's a good smoothie right
That's
there.
good.
But she
That's
said,
good.
you stuck
Oh.
on what you can't see.
Wow. That's powerful. Right? That's powerful.
And
That's
we had a
powerful.
moment right there in Sam's where she said, you have to go beyond. And she said, we do it a lot for people.
Wow.
And she said, for as much as you may know, you're going to miss some of the best people.
My goodness.
Because you can't get to the goodness
My
inside of
goodness.
them.
My
Because you
goodness.
stuck
My goodness.
on the
Wow.
outside.
Wow. That's deep.
It is deep.
That's deep.
So I want you to hold on to that.
Deep.
Because the world is full of judgment and
Yes,
speculation
yes.
and everything else. But they got to get to that goodness. And that's going to cause us to break open. Even for the pearls, it's going to cause us to lift that shell
Come
up
on.
and unveil
Come on.
the beauty
Wow.
that's inside of us.
Wow. Powerful.
So thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. This has been beautiful.
Yes.